Welcome to the Exact Digital Podcast, the show where we dive into how digital marketing agencies are using paid media to drive real growth for their clients and for themselves. From planning to ROI and everything in between, we uncover the strategies, stories, and systems that set agencies apart. Each episode, we'll talk with agency leaders who are innovating with paid media, scaling their businesses, and delivering results that matter. Whether you're looking to expand your services or sharpen the edge of your current offerings, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Exact Marketing Advice Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Andrew Toohill, who is the founder of Toohill Consulting. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, thanks, Tasha. Excited to be on here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, in this episode, we're going to walk through Andrew's journey of growing from a solo freelance developer into the founder of Toohill Consulting. We'll also explore how Andrew scaled through systems, evolved as a leader, and is now building something intentional for the future and for the next generation. So excited to have you on and explore more about what you've got going on, Andrew. So just for like a quick intro and what, your agency looks like today, for listeners who are meeting you for the first time, what is Toohill Consulting and what kind of work do you guys focus on?
Sure. Really, in a nutshell, we're a marketing agency focused on brand design, web design, and digital marketing.
Awesome. And so what does your business look like now compared to when you guys first got started?
Yeah, it really looks a ton different. So I said like web design sort of in the middle there initially. So I was really just like a coder and just working for a few clients. But now we have a team. We offer way more than coding and have a lot more clients that we take care of regularly. So it's a lot different.
Awesome. So let's talk about kind of where it all began and the turning point into building your company. So take us back to the very beginning. How did you actually get started as a freelance developer?
Yeah. So like I read that big, dummies coding book, like how to code, and fumbled through that for a year, quit several times, didn't want to keep reading it, got stuck over and over. My wife encouraged me to finish it. So I did finish it. And then I had some friends who had agencies as well at that time. And they didn't want to code. They just wanted to design things. And so here was I, and I was ready to code and ready to work and available. And so really just some connection with some other agency owners and taking on work from them. And is how I got my foot in the door, really.
Awesome. Yeah, I tell everybody there is definitely more function to a website than just user friendliness and how it actually looks. Actually the design is the smallest part of it, but the function of it is just so important. And I think so many people miss the mark there on the coding side of things. It's like when you look at it and you're like, oh, it's beautiful. But then when you actually dig into it, it's like, I hate having to go tell people that their baby is not very cute.
Yeah, it usually comes up. It's like a closet, you can't really see what's inside of it, but you open it up and, oh, there's all the code, and it could be nice and organized, or it could be a mess. And eventually it could be a problem if it's not done well. So
Absolutely. So tell us about those early agency projects, like when you were doing just WordPress and coding support.
yeah, totally. It was very long days, very, at night. I mean, I'd regularly work till, 10, 11, 12, 1 at night, just getting the job done. I had a lot to learn. I read the dummies book, but then I was really, I didn't go to college for this. I was all self-taught, and I had to get work done to get paid, and it was very stressful. But I learned a lot through it, and had a great support through that process, and I'm better off today because of that. So
Absolutely. That's, they always say the rubber meets the road. I definitely think that is one of those things where when you have to work your way through and figure it out, it does lead you to a different level of understanding and knowledge base for sure.
totally, yeah, way more time than I had planned, but
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, at what point did your freelancing journey start to feel like more than just a solo operation?
Yeah, we just had people start to just, reach out directly to us, and clients, wanting help on things. And I was like, oh, like, well, we could, kind of do what my agency friends were doing and taking on clients. I was like, well, like, there's no reason why I couldn't do that as well. And so, yeah, we just started taking on more clients, and that increased at a faster rate. Just began to feel like, this maybe isn't just me who needs to do this anymore.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I think the workload absolutely dictates, the number of hands that you have to have on deck, and you realize very quickly, it's like, wow, this is outgrowing me a little bit. We need to call in the reinforcements for sure.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, I didn't want to turn down work. I didn't want to like raise my rates through the roof, you know? So didn't want to work alone. Wanted to build a team, wanted to have other people involved in this. And so this is pretty clear to me. I'd rather be on the, problem of knowing what to do with work instead of where to find work. So that's always where I've positioned myself.
Absolutely. No, I always tell people in business world, you can't, if you're a $5 million business, you can't move like a $5 million business. You have to move like a $10 million business. You have to move today where you plan to go in the future so that you're ready for the next step. And I think so that you stay ahead of the curve. I think that's a really important, business motto to live by, to ensure that you're preparing and making steps for the future, and that you're staying ahead of your clients rather than, chasing solutions. You actually are the solution. So I feel like that's pretty
Totally.
important.
Oh, definitely. For sure. Yeah.
So when did your transition really start to feel like you were going from me to we, when Toohill Consulting was born?
Yeah. So, like I said, just taking on more clients, and kind of at that same time, this will kind of lead in some of our other discussion. Our family was also going from me to we, and from me and my wife, us to a whole soccer team, football team, whatever people have called us over the years. So we had about 3 kids over a 4-year period. We had
Wow.
more than 3, but over a 4-year period, our business was growing a lot. Our family was growing a lot. And it was just exhausting. That's just the best way to put it. It was exhausting, like building a family, and, just very tiring. But
Absolutely. Yeah, that's we look back at that and we say, this is why we did those things in our younger years. It's like, where did that level of energy go and how did I survive it?
yeah, it's like almost like like what happened? I don't even remember some of it. Just it was so fast, it was so quick. Just sort of uh, trying to survive in some of those years. And just put one foot in front of the other, and just make the next best choice. Really.
Absolutely. Well, and I say all the time, when you're building a team, there is a level of trust that you absolutely have to have. And I feel like, when you work so hard on something and it becomes your baby, that it is kind of hard to let go. So, kind of moving into the next phase of our discussion,
Yeah.
let's talk about, scaling through systems and letting go of the control of a little bit of actually going from that me to that we. So, as your agency started growing, what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys ran into early on during that growth phase?
Oh yeah. I mean, the number one thing was just the amount of time in the day. And then, the team, finding the right team members to work with us. And just the amount of time in the day. You can't really buy more time. You have to use your time to do what you can. And so we were just always running into just so much work. I mean, earlier on, you're just, you take it on this project, that project. And then as you start to get those projects, you're like, wait, how am I going to get everything done? So just the time in the day was huge. Trying to figure out how to get other help, and Most of our efforts to get help didn't actually work out. It's been really interesting. But the right people have seemed to come our way, mainly through different relationships in our lives, different people we know from our community. And so it's been interesting, but time in the day and the right people in place is definitely part of our biggest challenges early on.
Absolutely. So when did you guys really start realizing that you needed true systems and processes in place to keep things running smoothly on the day to day?
Yeah, totally. So one of those people that was part of our team early on, they were an engineer and a programmer and you know in background, and so uh, they were helping us with some of our maintenance for some of our websites we were managing, and they just sort of pointed out to us, our gaps, like, here's where this is hard to keep track of. It would be great if we had more of a system that showed everything that we were doing. I didn't really see it myself. When you're kind of in the thick of everything, you don't really see what you don't see. And so it took a friend, someone who worked with us, to kind of point that out, and me listening and trusting, trusting them, and making adjustments is what helped us see that and begin to think a little bit more aggressively about how we, not only what we were doing, but how we were doing it, needing to work a lot smarter, not as hard. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite sayings: work smarter, not harder.
try to, yeah.
Absolutely. So, what were some of the first operational areas that you guys worked to get organized?
Yeah, so like I say, like, our website maintenance log. So we do one of our main things we do in our business is website maintenance. Seems like a lot of companies and agencies don't want to do that at all or don't care about it. They just want it something that looks pretty and flashy and showy and all that. But we do a ton of maintenance for our clients, and so that was the first area that. And it's proactive. So there's certain things we do every month. And so we needed a system that could allow us to see for every client everything we were doing every month, just for our own records, just for accountability, and just so we, at the end of the day, yeah, we just made sure we were doing what we promised our clients. And so that and project management systems, taking on multiple projects at once, keeping track of who's doing what, when it's due, whose court is it in. I mean, so project management was huge. Time tracking has been important to us as well, just understanding where time and resources are going. And then just, of course, the accounting systems is massive for any business, but making sure that's solid. And so, really, all those sorts of systems working together, on the same page and developing them simultaneously was a lot of work, but where we needed to keep our focus early on.
Absolutely. So I know we had kind of mentioned this previously, but of course, one of the biggest growth shifts is letting go of control. What does that look like for you personally?
Uh, well, if I'm like most people, it was very challenging. I'm still learning how to do it. It's been a slow process, but I'd say letting go of, repetitive tasks or things that I do regularly, just having good, clear communication with our team, with our clients, about, who's doing what and what the expectations are. So it's really just been about communicating and then trusting and knowing too, like, that you hand something off and it's not going to always be done the same exact way that you do it, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely, for
the major
sure.
things have to be done, obviously, but some of the minor nuances or preferences, like learning to let go of some of those things so that, you know, uh, we can still accomplish the goal of what we're delivering our clients, but it can be done a little bit differently, and that's okay. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I will say that, and let me preface this by saying I know enough about coding to be a danger to myself and others.
Oh,
And so it, we're in the paid media side of things, and I can tell you everything about that backwards, forwards, and sideways. But when it comes to actually coding a website, I know just enough to be dangerous. And so, but I have often heard that with the developers that we work with, that oftentimes that you have to be very careful in the coding world because you get so used to doing it a certain way that you can actually pigeonhole yourself and keep yourself from growing and learning. And so by,
mhm.
surrounding yourself with other coders and other developers who may do things a little bit differently, it actually helps you grow and learn and keeps you challenged and engaged in ways that if you're just in your cockpit by yourself all the time, so to say, that you actually lose skills along the way. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah, I mean, I think just you know, getting those people that you can trust. I think there's I've as a leader, I've grown in this that I want to surround myself with people who know more than myself. I think earlier on, it can be a little intimidating to allow other people to be a part of like maybe how you code something or like how you build something or design something. But I think in order to really grow, letting other people come in and having that mindset that, you know, they know something that I don't know and they're going to add to this project and make it even better if I give them the space to do it. So um, I think it's just, matters how you think about it and how you approach it with different people. And again, just yeah, having the right people with you is everything. Having people smarter than yourself, is a good thing.
No, absolutely. My partner always says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Mm, yeah, we always joke about that. And coming from a background in education, I can honestly say that, I've committed myself to I want to be a lifelong learner. I think that always growing and learning and challenging yourself, to not necessarily learn new things, but to learn how to do some of the things that you've always known how to do in new ways. I think, the age of AI and all the things that, we're experiencing now, we've been doing things for a long time, but now we're learning better and more efficient ways to do those things. And that's why I've always prescribed to the work smarter, not harder. And that does involve some level of being flexible to say, hey, maybe the way that I've been doing it is not the best way to do it. And really looking at more of our processes and how we do things on a daily basis, and just being open to grow and learn, even not just new things, but new ways to do old things, I think is pretty important as well.
Totally. Yeah, I've heard you can have growth or you can have control, but you can't have both.
Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. So let's talk about, because I know that you have talked about family and that's very important. So talk about Toohill Consultant and how you've kind of structured that to be a family business and moving into the next chapter. So building with future generations in mind and kind of stepping into a new season. So what makes Toohill Consulting unique today compared to the typical agency?
Sure. Well, we are a truly, family owned and operated business. So, my wife and I founded this together. I'm primarily in the ops side of things. She's primarily in the financials and business development side of things. And then really, and I know there's a lot of people out there like in that similar situation. But we have our oldest sons, and some of our teenage sons as well involved in our business. And it's been really amazing to work with them. My oldest son is 18. And so, but he's been with us, interested and part of what we've been doing. Gosh, I was trying to put a date to it, but I'd say at least the last 8 years in ways that were age appropriate, of course. So having him be a part of that and, you know, uh, I think that's what makes us unique. We're trying to build this with our family, with our kids. and build something that, they can carry on if they would like. So.
Absolutely. And so, how does having your sons become more involved shape the way you see the business now as it stands today?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I make decisions, I'm thinking about how those decisions impact them. When I look at what I'm focused on, and if there's a something that I'm not really looking forward to working on, um, I tend to think, well, if I don't deal with this, then that'll be something they have to deal with. So I think it gives me the courage and the motivation in some ways to do the hard work of building this business, so that we can have that foundation that they can build upon. So I'd say it really impacts my decision and the way I think about things on a daily basis. And I'm not only their father, but I'm also their boss and their mentor in the workplace. And so it's unique for sure, but very rewarding all at the same time to see their growth and see their participation. And my oldest son, like, he'll interact with clients, and we talk about it regularly, and talk about how we do that and how we conduct ourselves in a professional manner. So it's really interesting. I don't really know many other people out there who do this. I'm sure there are, but um, I think we're building something pretty special for them that will be a blessing to them and also to other businesses and future clients as well.
Absolutely. So, actually, looking ahead, I think you're kind of working your way out of a lead operator role for this business. So, what is that transition going to look like for you?
Yeah, it's hard, to be honest. I'm a workhorse. I like to work. Like, when I'm not in the office, like, I'll go out in the woods and I'll just want to work in the woods and, just work. I just keep going. So I have to force myself. I have to give myself limits on how much time I'm actually allowed to work. And so working myself out slowly. And so I have goals like, so much time a day that I'll work and be active. But I give myself limits. And so, but I'm not trying to do this quickly. I'm not trying to, like, be out in a year or two, so I have a plan. We have time. And so, just a slow process, something that we, um, can just take step by step, instead of, a big jump or a big move. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, let's kind of talk about some closing reflections and kind of look at, Toohill Consulting overall.
Mhm.
Um, you know, if you were to give some key takeaways or advice, for what's next, what are some of the biggest lessons that you can say you've learned going from being just a solo freelancer to the founder of something much bigger than yourself?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing has been the mindset. Um, Really going into, like, an ownership mindset and a partnership mindset. So, as a freelancer, and when I was younger, you just get a job, you take care of the job, you may or may not really interact with whoever you're doing the work directly for. And so you just focused on getting a job done and getting, like, a payday. I mean, which are good, normal, and should happen. People need to do it. But I'd say that, thinking of this as more of a business, there's this mindset of, um, like, this falls on me. Like, I need to own this, and like, I'm the ceiling. And if I want this to go further, um, I have to make adjustments, and I have to, um, focus on the relationships with our clients. I think I'm more concerned about the client relationship now than I am necessarily the payday. And so I think just, having focus there as an owner, has been probably the biggest mindset shift.
Absolutely. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about a little bit of advice that you would give somebody who is where you were so many years ago and they're just starting out. What would be the number one piece of advice you'd give for them?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd say there's gonna be ups and downs. So don't be surprised if you're first starting off and you know let's just talk about money for a moment. Your money is going to be like this for a period of time. Hopefully you can figure out a way to smooth that over time and make it more reliable. But I'd say just know that it's a roller coaster because when you first start out, I mean, you're starting a business, and most people don't realize when they start a business just how much is involved in that. It's more than the skill or craft that you have. It's the accounting and the sales and the working on your business that tends to go to the side. And so just know there's ups and downs. And I said, like, be open to receiving input from other people because we all have gaps. We all have things we don't see. And so surround yourself with people who believe in what you're doing and can encourage and support you because there's going to be moments that are tough. There's going to be times where you feel like you get fired. Like when you freelance, it's like you can. It's easier to kind of get let go as a freelancer than an employee for someone. And so just know, like, you could start to feel like you have multiple bosses and multiple people that you are responsible to. And so just know, like, there's more ups and downs in
Right.
your client relationships and your money. And so buckle up, just know that's normal part of the process. And you can kind of get through those first 3 to 5 years, and learn from that, you're going to be better off. So.
Absolutely. And so, final question for you. Tell me what excites you most about the next chapter for you and for Toohill Consulting.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is because we've been around a little while now, and so being able to journey with so many different clients over the last decade has been amazing. And so I think one thing that excites me is seeing our clients' growth in their businesses, in their organizations, and so um, things we were doing like 8, 10 years ago that where we've been part of a team that's focused on building businesses. Seeing those businesses grow has been amazing. So I'm excited to continue to see that with our clients. Our team, obviously my sons, my family, being part of our business, discovering that. And then really just being able to, where people have helped me in growing as a leader and growing our business, being able to do the same for younger freelancers, individuals trying to start their own business, trying to get into this area. I think that's what excites me the most.
Absolutely. And if there's anybody listening today who has liked what they've heard and really wants to be involved with the developer who has more of a relationship goal in mind with their clients, things like that, and has the team needed to be able to do that, how would they get in touch with you guys?
Sure, they could just go to andrewtoohill.com. I have my own website. I have all my social media links on there. So just, wherever you like to, connect on social media, you probably find me there. So
Awesome. That's great. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you being part of the Exact Marketing Advice podcast and look forward to talking to you again soon.
thanks for having me on the show, Tasha.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.